Welcome to the latest episode of The Good, The Bad, and The Ugly, brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan. You can find me on Twitter at 3Piece Combo. And today we're going to get to the good, bad, and the ugly of yesterday's Clippers game. Now, probably one of the most disappointing games of the season, going against a Clippers team that had missing four of their five out of their starting lineup. And we got Jimmy Butler back. And the last time we played them without their starting lineup, we didn't have Jimmy Butler. We ended up losing that game. It was very disappointing. But this one is just much more disappointing. Getting into the series a little bit, if you're new here, what we do is we just kind of take some of the good points of the game, some of the bad points of the game, and some of the ugly, which can be, like Bam dunking on Terrence Mann, which was pretty nice. Nice to see him being a little more aggressive, or that ugly 3-point defense where we're just allowing Marcus Morris to be on pace to score 60 after the first quarter. Something new I do want to add to the series. I want to have you guys start commenting down below. I want to see what your guys' good, bad, and ugly is, because maybe I missed something. Maybe there's something that you guys see that I didn't see. So I want to see what you guys have. Best comment, I'm going to put you up in the next video. I'll have you a screenshot with you for the next video. So I want to get back into it. We're going to start with the good, and let's get into it. So getting into some of the good aspects of the game, before we get into the bad, we want to talk a little bit about some of the good parts of the game. Before we get into the individual players, first thing I want to talk about is that we had 70 points in the paint. Now, we didn't particularly shoot well from deep. I think we had 8 or 9 3-point makes, but I loved 70 points in the paint, and that's something that we need to be doing, especially with our two-star players, Jimmy and Bam, being very good finishers and being really strong around the paint. That's how we need to be getting a lot of our points, and that's what's going to set up better 3-point shots. Moving on to the second good part of yesterday's game, Jimmy Butler, another 30-point triple-double. And this guy's doing it all. In the fourth quarter, when he came down to it, he was trying to knock clutch free throws down to bring us back into the game after going down 10 with only 2 minutes and 41 seconds left. But he was 10 for 10 from the free throw line, 12 of 15, no, that was Bam, 10 of 19 from the field, so shooting over 50%, and 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 2 steals. You can't overstate what we got from Jimmy Butler, and as our max player, this is what we want from him, but we also need a little bit more from everybody else. Right now, we're not getting enough help for Jimmy, and it's not going to work out long term, because like Ricky talks about in some of the post-game shows and the pre-game shows on our 5 Reasons YouTube, he has that Tom Thibodeau tread. So he has that Thibodeau tread where he's been playing so many minutes for every game that his body is going to get worn down eventually. And sometimes players' body breaks down before they want him to. Looking up to the late, great Kobe Bryant, dude was a stud, but his body just couldn't keep up towards the end of the career. Don't want that to happen to Jimmy Butler. Don't want him to fall behind on these injuries. We need to get him some help. But he played a phenomenal game. 30-point triple-double. Can't ask for anything more. Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro, I'm going to group these two guys together. Because I really liked what I saw from them as far as the offensive aggression. These guys were looking a little bit more to go and get their own bucket. Bam ended up with 27 points. 12 of 15 from the field. That's an insane field goal percentage. Dude missed 3 shots out of 15. He did everything you asked him to. He went in. He was more aggressive from the start. You saw that he was asking for the ball. He was getting into the post. Whenever he would get a switch against a smaller man, he would go ahead and he would back him down and take him to the rim. He dunked on a couple of smaller guys, some random scrubs that ended up killing us later in the game. But I like the aggressiveness that I saw from Bam. And he also had, 12 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, 7 assists, a steal, 2 blocks. Dude's stuff in the stat sheet. If you have Bam Adebayo on your fantasy team, you're a happy man. Now, moving on to Tyler Herro, another great game from Tyler Herro. And this is what we want to see from him. We want to see him be more aggressive, look for a shot, be the guy that's just a scorer. And naturally, because of his finesse and his savviness, he's going to find that open man. So 27 points for Tyler Herro, shooting over 50%, 4 of 10 from deep. This is what we want as potentially our third star coming up. You have Bam and Jimmy as a top. We need a third guy. And that third guy is going to have to be Tyler Herro. If we don't end up trading him, flipping him for Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine or somebody else that we're thinking about getting, he needs to become that guy that can be like our CJ McCollum, where he can go and he can get a bucket. Maybe not the most efficient, maybe hovering 45 to 50%, but he can go and get a bucket, and that's what you need from him. So good game, Tyler Herro. Good game, Bam Adebayo. Good game, Jimmy Butler. Loved what I saw as far as us attacking the paint. But the bad. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit into the bad. Absolutely awful loss. So let's get into it. So moving into the bad. This was probably the most disappointing loss of the season. Maybe, I mean, we lost to the Wizards before. Shouldn't have lost that game. We lost to this same Clippers bench before. We shouldn't have lost that game either. There's too many games that are getting away from us. And the first thing that's really been bugging me about this game is that we're switching everything. Our defense is a huge problem. We're allowing Bam to come out on the perimeter, and of course, last year players didn't know as much of Bam. It was his coming out year, as it was for Nunn and Duncan. But now players know that when they switch onto him and he's out in the perimeter, that we have nobody in the paint. So you have guys like Zubac going off for 22 and 8 when he averages like 10 and 6. And that tends to be a common theme. So we have this problem where opposing centers just feasted on us because Bam is always switching out. It leaves Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson or Kendrick Nunn or Jimmy Butler, smaller guys in the paint trying to guard a center. And once that center ends up getting the ball, the defense either collapses and they leave open a three-point shot, or that center ends up making a shot or getting an offensive rebound and then making the second attempt. So I want to see a little bit less switching. I want to see us fight over the screens a little bit more. We're not doing enough defensively. We're giving up too many three-point shots. We're handing out career highs like we're Oprah, and we can't be doing this. Our defense cannot be this bad and expect for us to win games. Second thing, as far as our team, outside of Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero, this team scored, I think, 14 points outside of those guys, and that just can't happen. You know, Duncan Robinson, you want to be a $15 million guy, you got to go out there and score 15 points. Kelly Olynyk, you know, you need to be doing more than scoring one shot, just one. Kendrick Nunn, he was looking for a shot a little bit more. He wasn't in his flow this game, so I might give him a little more of a pass just because he's been helping carry us offensively. But all these guys cannot combine for 14 points. And this can't be something that continues to happen because we have one of the worst defenses in the league. And on top of that, we have one of the worst offenses in the league. So what are we really doing? What is this team's identity? That, you know, we talk about it a lot on the YouTube channel, on the pod. What is this team's identity? And right now, we don't know what this team's identity. We don't know what we can do defensively. There's so many holes on this team. There's so many one-dimensional players. It's hard figuring out how to put all the pieces in the right place and have them work like that perfect puzzle like we figured out last year and ended up taking us to the finals. Last thing I want to talk about, and it gets back a little bit to what we were talking about earlier, the continuous allowance of these random scrub heat killers to come and destroy us. I mean, Coffee comes in and he was brewing up a storm. The Coffee stayed hot all night. All right, enough with those Coffee puns. I just stole those from the Clippers broadcast team. But, you know, he had his career high against us, and he just came out of the G League like last week. And it seems like we're giving career highs to brand new players every single time we play another team. And I feel like all they do is they watch Heat games, and they're like, oh, they're going to leave me open, and I'm going to make all these shots. So they know what shots to hunt. They know that those are the shots they're going to be given, and that's the shots they're going to have to take and make. And unfortunately for this Heat team, we don't have anybody that stops that anymore. With Avery Bradley out, we don't have anybody that's that third guy to able to help us and help close out on shooters. And we're just giving shooters open shots over and over again. Now, there was a lot of bad in this game, but there is some really, really ugliness as far as the defense. So let's get into that ugly. The Ugly, featuring Maurice Harkless. Mo, what were you doing this game? In 6 minutes in the first half, you gave up 5 3-pointers. You fouled the Clippers with 1.7 left on the shot clock when they weren't even in a moving shot motion, and you provided nothing offensively. I'm not sure why he was in there in the fourth quarter and doing all of these things, but man, Mo, you're playing like absolute trash. If you want to play if you want to be on this team and you want to be the guy that at least has some minutes, you got to do something more than that. So as far as the ugly goes, it's all Maurice Harkless on that. As far as the worst part of the game, I couldn't think of an absolutely worst part of the game than what Mo Harkless did. And he's a good player. Obviously, personally, nothing against the guy. But as a player on this team and as his role, you can't be giving up 5 3-pointers in a 6-minute stretch. You just can't be doing that. So Maurice Harkless was real ugly. That's it for the good and the bad and the ugly, man. We had such a horrible game. It was way more bad and the ugly than there was good. But maybe there's something to look forward to. You know, we won 4 in a row before losing 2 straight now. This game was a scheduled loss before knowing Kawhi, PG, all those guys were going to be out anyways. So kind of marked this one as a loss before we ended up making it out there anyways. So we still have a couple of games on this road trip that we can make it up. Don't know how we're going to stop Steph Curry. Hopefully with AD being out, we have a chance against the Lakers. The Kings have been looking good, but they got destroyed by the Nets. So it'll be interesting to see what we do moving forward. Now, like I said, I do want to see what you guys think about our game last night against who did we play? Who destroyed us? Can't even remember because they weren't even playing their star players. But against the Clippers, I want to know what your good, your bad, and your ugly was against the Clippers yesterday. Like I said, the best one we'll make it onto the show next week. I'll go ahead and post a little screenshot of that. And I appreciate you guys checking it out. You know, after a horrible game, sometimes you just wanna hear some shit talking about this team. So I appreciate you guys checking this out. Thanks for checking out the good, the bad, and the ugly. Brought to you by the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, and I hope you guys have a great day.